was an ordinary day in 1997 when it happened. We were about to see something that would change our lives forever. Bats brought a game over to the apartment and put it in the PlayStation 1. And as we watched it boot up, what we thought was just a normal demo disc was anything but. Little did we know what we were in for.
What the This is crazy. Where the hell am I? What the hell is this liminal space? Oh my god, what was that? Okay, hold on. What if I tried this? Ah, okay. Ha! I made it through. Well, I guess that was a little easier than I thought it was. Oh no. Damn it! Hey everybody, what's up? And welcome back to Macabre Labs presents a showcase of things likely forgotten. I almost said School of Boredom. I'm your host, Bats, and I hope you'll join me today as we take a look at today's topic with the classic PlayStation 1 game, IQ, Intelligent Qube, Tetris with a twist. For today's showcase, we're going all the way back to the year 1997 to examine a PlayStation 1 game that pushed us all to have a higher IQ. We are, of course, talking about IQ Intelligent Qube, or simply Intelligent Qube in North America, and known as Karushi in Europe. Intelligent Qube was designed by Masahiko Sato, who was a professor at the Tokyo University of Arts. This game was developed by G Artists and published by Sony Computer Entertainment, as well as directed by Kenji Sawagachi, and it would also have the very talented Takayuki Hattori composing the music. I am seriously shocked that I named all those names in one take. This puzzle video game for the PlayStation 1 was released in Japan on January 31st, 1997, and in Europe it was released in October of 1997, and in North America it would be released on November 17th, 1997. This is a deceptively easy-looking game, and the critics absolutely loved it. It even won the Excellence Award for Interactive Art at the 1997 Japan Media Arts Festival.
This is one of those games that takes a moment to learn, but a lifetime to master.
Indeed, and knowing all that, let's move forward and see what the actual gameplay for this one was like. The game starts with the player avatar on a long platform made of cubes between 23 to 30 rows long. Each stage starts with 12 to 16 rows of raised blocks that will start turning over and try to crush the player's avatar. Now the point here is to clear all of the rolling cubes except for the black ones by marking them before you are either run over or they roll off the edge. You do have to be careful though. The more cubes that roll over the edge, the more of the player's platform will also fall as a penalty. Now if this happens too many times during a level, you can lose the extra rows you have to stand on before the rolling blocks finish rolling, and this will result in the avatar getting flung off as there's no room to stand and clear them. I know, sounds pretty easy, right? Well, you'd be wrong. There are 8 stages and a final stage, with each stage having 4 levels of blocks to clear, consisting of between 2 and 7 rows each. The higher stages only have 2 sets of blocks rolling toward you, as the length of the blocks rolling is longer. The final stage consists of 4 levels to clear with 9 rows of blocks each. There are 3 types of blocks that roll toward you: the normal cubes, the advantage cubes, and the forbidden cubes. The normal cubes are colored the same as the platform the player is standing on. These are the cubes that are to be cleared. The advantage cubes are green and should be cleared also. When you eliminate these cubes, they change to a green square on the ground that you can detonate. These green squares will detonate in a 3x3 area. However, you have to be careful not to hit any of the black forbidden blocks. One thing that is cool about these cubes is that if you don't detonate them during that turn, you can use them again in the next turn, as they don't disappear until detonated or the entire path is cleared. This tactic can actually become pretty useful in some of the later levels, as you can see here with Goat's gameplay. She provided all the gameplay for this video. Lastly, we have
The forbidden cubes.
and they are black. These cubes are not to be cleared. However, unlike other cubes, you want the black ones to fall off the platform without activating them or getting rid of them. If you do accidentally clear them, you will lose a row of your platform for each black block that is cleared, making the game far more difficult. One thing to note that is, if a forbidden cube is marked and detonated, even with an advantage cube, it will still count against you. But the game doesn't stop teaching you just there. There are a few other penalties to watch out for. If the normal cubes or advantage cubes fall off the platform without being cleared, the platform will lose a row for the next level. This will reduce the number of rows and space the player has to clear blocks before they fall off the platform. However, if the player does get flattened by the rolling cubes, then all of the remaining cubes for the stage will quickly tumble over the edge of the platform. On top of that, the edge still falls off. Provided there is still raised cubes left for the player to clear, the player will get a second attempt at the previous round. So now that we know about the cubes and how the gameplay works, let's take a look at some of this game's bonuses. If you can manage to clear all of the cubes without clearing any of the forbidden cubes, you get a and a score. A perfect level clear means a row will be added to the platform the player is standing on as opposed to be taken away.
Now believe me, this is very important later in the game when there are longer sets of rows.
Once you have beaten the game the first time, you can unlock Original Mode, where you are able to create your own puzzles. Unfortunately, the rules are not calculated, and you do not get an IQ score for these ones. Also, unfortunately, we were not quite able to get footage of this one quite yet. The other bonus is for scoring each level. On the top right of each level, there is a number fraction. This shows how many moves the level can be completed in, such as a level may show that it is possible to solve the level in 10 moves. It's also worth noting it is possible to clear them before that limit is reached. If you clear the level with more than the moves listed, then you only get a bonus of 1,000 points. However, if you are able to clear the level with the same amount of moves, you get a Brilliant with a bonus of 5,000 points. Even better is if you are able to clear the level with less moves than the amount of moves listed, as I previously mentioned, you get a True Genius with a bonus of 10,000 points. So now let's take a look at how they score this game. The basic scoring on this game is clearing each cube is worth 100 points per cube. Cubes that you clear by detonating with an advantage cube are worth 200 points each. And at the end of each level, the number of remaining rows left on the platform are multiplied by 1,000 and added to the score. Most stages you will get around 40,000 points if you don't lose any blocks on the level. However, the first stage maximum score is 27,000, third stage is 39,000 points, and the final stage comes in at 29,000 points. When the game is over, the total score is displayed and you get an IQ score between 0 to 999, hence the name of this game.
Is that all bats?
Not at all, Goats. There are actually some unlockables as well. When you first start playing, you start as the character named Elliot, but when you beat the game multiple times, you are able to unlock Cynthia and Spike the dog. These characters have advantages, such as Cynthia can move faster, and the dog can slip between rolling blocks at an angle, which can get you out of some pretty tight spots. During our research, we found a lot of articles that show that this game can take about 2 hours to beat. But it's fun to try and get a better IQ score each and every time. Again, unfortunately, she wasn't able to get far enough in this short amount of time to get those things unlocked, but here's some footage we found on YouTube.
After these messages, we'll be right back. And now, back to the show.
Now let's go across the pond and talk about Karushi Final. Karushi Final was released as IQ Final for Japan in 1998 and Karushi Final Mental Blocks for Europe in 1999. This version of the game featured pretty much the same gameplay, but with some aesthetic changes. In addition to the original characters, they also added Kimti, a caveman, April, a nurse, Morgan, a military man, Dixon, a basketball player, and Atlas, the polar bear. That last one actually sounds pretty cool, although with his size I could see how it might get a little difficult. In this version of the game, if you get an IQ of 500 or more, or stay in survival mode for 20 minutes or longer, you can unlock Tectonics. In this version of the game, if you get an IQ of 500 or more, or stay in survival mode for 20 minutes or longer, you can unlock Tectonics. Tectonics is a mini-game where the player has to face a huge puzzle which has 20 waves in one set to clear. Karushi Final also has the 100 attack mode, where the player has to clear singular puzzles within a set number of rolls. And lastly, we have survival mode, which has no end. The blocks will keep coming until the player falls off the platform or gets flattened.
Did this have a create mode too?
Of course, goat. However, the Create mode on Karushi Final is like the North American version, but the total number of rolls is actually calculated. All of these game versions have multiplayer mode, but it is just taking turns, not really a two-player split screen. Both games also have various levels, textures, colors, and difficulty settings, and it can get pretty fast. A lot of us got our first taste of IQ Intelligent Cubes on the PlayStation Underground Demo Disc 1.3. Along with the Intelligent Cube demo, the disc had demos of Armored Core, NFL Game Day 98 Preview, Tomb Raider 2 Rolling Demo, Parappa the Rapper, Steel Rain, Cool Borders 2, Kart World Series, Jet Moto 2, Fighting Force, Croc Legend of the Gobos, Jersey Devil, and Raystorm. Once we tried the demo of Intelligent Qube, we were instantly hooked like so many others, but back in 1997 the internet was in its infancy, with no way to find the game online to buy for yourself like you would today. So what did we do? We called in or physically went into places like Funko Land, Kmart, or Fred Meyer and asked about the game, but it was nowhere to be found and we couldn't find the whole game for a long time. Eventually, someone we knew found the entire game on disc inexplicably in the Fred Meyer's electronics department and bought it. It would create quite the epidemic around our friend circle. Here in 2025, with the internet we have now, you can find the full game easily on Amazon and eBay for around $40 or more. With the popularity and demand for this game, the price hasn't lowered by much, nor is it too much to ask for.
I traded my friend with another game for the Intelligent Cube's disc, and it is just as good today as it was back in 1997. I absolutely love this game. It's a very simple premise, but has great replay value, and I'm always trying to get a better IQ.
I remember when I first brought this demo disc over and what happened, and how everybody would argue over who got to play it next, and who would get the higher IQ, and whose turn it was. It was quite the thing. Don't even get me started. But it was a lot of fun, and I'm not even sure I'm going to get this edit out on time due to Goat getting me my B-roll and playing. But now you know what I think, I've just got to ask. Did you ever get a chance to play IQ Intelligent Qube? If so, what was your first introduction to the game? And what was your favorite part? If not, what was your favorite childhood snack, toy, show, movie, or other memory? Did we forget anything, get something wrong, or leave something out? Do you have a suggestion for a future video, or maybe you just want to drop in and say hi? Either way, feel free to head on down to the comments because we look forward to hearing from you. Before we end this showcase, I do need to mention IQ Remix Plus. This is the sequel made for the PlayStation 2. The gameplay is similar to the original, with more colorful players, but instead of the blocks being raised at the end, they fall from the sky and land on the player's platform. There is also a background that fluctuates with a moving silhouette of the player and the block platform. As of writing, we have never played this version, but having the silhouettes in the background seems like it would be very distracting during gameplay. You can buy the IQ Remix Plus on eBay and some retro video game sites and stores for around $20. Eventually we will get a copy of this game and make a video about that too, if we get enough response to this one. Either way, IQ Intelligent Qube was a fun game that has delighted fans everywhere. And with that, unfortunately, we've come to the end of another Macabre Gorim Lab showcase of things likely forgotten. I've been your host, Bats, and I hope you had a good time today as we took a look at today's topic, IQ Intelligent Qube Tetris with a twist. Be sure to check back next time because you never know what we have in store. And as usual, think for yourselves. Be excellent to each other.
Again.
And keep it creepy. Damn it! Hey, thanks for checking out our video. If you enjoyed this one and would like to see more of our weird, creepy, odd, eccentric, or strange content as soon as it comes out, please feel free to click like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more. We'll see you later. Keep it creepy.